The first sign was subtle, almost imperceptible. A shift in Braunt's routine, a new perfume I didn't recognize, the way she held her phone a little too close to her chest when I entered the room. I'm Kellan, 43, and I work as a software engineer in Austin, Texas. Braunt and I have been married for 15 years. We have 2 kids, a mortgage, the whole 9 yards. We were happy, I thought. Or at least I was. It started with late nights at the office. Big project, she'd say, kissing me quickly before rushing out the door. Braunt is a marketing executive, a high-powered woman in a demanding industry. I understood the pressures, the deadlines. But the late nights became more frequent, the kisses more perfunctory. She was distant, preoccupied. I tried to talk to her, but she'd brush me off, saying I was imagining things, that I was being insecure. I hated feeling like that. I trusted her, or at least I wanted to. Then came the phone calls. Whispered conversations in the hallway, hushed tones that stopped abruptly when I walked in. I'd ask who she was talking to, and she'd say it was a client, a colleague, someone from work. But her eyes wouldn't meet mine, and her voice would waver slightly. My gut churned with a growing sense of unease. One evening, Braunt said she had to go to a conference in Dallas for a few days. "It's really important for my career," she explained, her eyes pleading. "I know it's last minute, but I have to go." I helped her pack, trying to ignore the knot in my stomach. As she left, I felt a pang of loneliness, a sense of foreboding that I couldn't shake. The next day, I was working from home when I realized I needed a file from Braunt's laptop. She usually leaves it on the kitchen counter, but it wasn't there. I checked her office, our bedroom, everywhere I could think of. Finally, I found it in the back of her closet, hidden under a pile of old clothes. I felt a surge of guilt as I opened it. I knew I shouldn't be snooping, but my suspicion had reached a fever pitch. The laptop was password protected, but I managed to guess her password after a few tries, our anniversary date. I felt a small victory, quickly replaced by a wave of shame. I navigated to her email, my heart pounding in my chest. There it was, a folder labeled personal. I clicked on it, and a flood of emails filled the screen. They were from someone named Finn. I scrolled through the emails, my hands shaking. They were filled with intimate details, passionate declarations of love, plans for secret rendezvous. My world started to spin. Finn was a colleague of Braunt's, a man I had met briefly at a company party. He was younger, charming, and clearly infatuated with my wife. The emails spanned months, detailing their affair in excruciating detail. Hotel rooms, stolen moments, lies upon lies. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. The air left my lungs, and I stumbled backward, knocking over a lamp. The room swam before my eyes. Braunt, my wife, the woman I had loved and trusted for so long, was cheating on me. The pain was unbearable, a crushing weight on my chest. I spent the next few hours in a daze rereading the emails, trying to make sense of it all. How could she do this to me, to our family? What had I done to deserve this? The questions swirled in my head, unanswered and agonizing. I felt a mixture of rage, sadness, and disbelief. I wanted to scream, to break things, to disappear. When Braunt returned from Dallas, I was waiting for her. She walked in, smiling, and asked how my day had been. I stared at her, my eyes filled with pain and anger. "I know," I said, my voice trembling. Her smile faltered. "Know what?" she asked, her eyes widening slightly. "I know about Finn," I said, the words like poison on my tongue. "I read your emails," face drained of color. "Kellan," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. "Don't," I said, cutting her off. "Don't even try to deny it." I saw everything. The lies, the deceit, the betrayal. Tears streamed down her face. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far." "Mean for it to go this far?" I repeated, my voice rising. "You were having an affair, Braunt, for months. How could you not mean for it to go this far?" She sank to her knees, begging for forgiveness. "Please, Kellan, don't leave me. I'll do anything. I'll quit my job, I'll go to therapy, I'll do whatever it takes." The trust was broken, shattered into a million pieces. I couldn't look at her without seeing the lies, the betrayal. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by a stranger. "It's over, Braunt," I said, my voice cold and resolute. "I want a divorce." Next few months were a blur of legal battles, painful conversations, and shattered dreams. We sold the house, divided our assets, and tried to navigate the complexities of co-parenting. Braunt moved into an apartment downtown, and Finn, the man who had destroyed our marriage, was nowhere to be seen. He had moved on to another conquest, leaving Bront to face the consequences of her actions. I felt a sense of emptiness, a void that I didn't know how to fill. I threw myself into my work, spending long hours at the office, trying to distract myself from the pain. I saw a therapist who helped me process my emotions and start to heal. One day I received a message from an unknown number. It was a picture of Bront and Finn taken recently at a restaurant. They were holding hands, laughing, looking like a couple. The rage surged back, stronger than ever. I felt like I had been stabbed all over again. I decided I needed to confront Finn. I tracked down his address and drove to his apartment. I knocked on the door, my heart pounding in my chest. He opened the door, looking surprised to see me. "Kellan," he said, his voice wary. "What do you want?" "I want to know why," I said, my voice trembling with anger. "Why did you do this to me, to my family?" He shrugged. "It just happened," he said, echoing Bront's words. "We had a connection." "Connection?" I repeated, my voice rising. "You destroyed my marriage for a connection," he smirked. "Maybe your marriage wasn't as strong as you thought it was, that was it." I snapped. I lunged at him, grabbing him by the collar and shoving him against the wall. "You have no idea what you've done," I yelled, my face inches from his. "You ruined everything." He struggled against me, but I was stronger, fueled by rage and pain. I wanted to hurt him, to make him feel the same agony I had been feeling. But as I looked into his eyes, I saw fear and something else, regret. I released him, stepping back. "It's not worth it," I said, my voice hoarse. "You're not worth it." I turned and walked away, leaving him standing there, shaken and silent. I knew that violence wasn't the answer, that it wouldn't bring Bront back or erase the pain. But I needed to confront him, to let him know the damage he had caused. I focused on rebuilding my life, on being a good father to my children, on finding happiness again. It wasn't easy, but I was determined to move forward, to not let Bront and Finn's betrayal define me. A few years passed. I started dating again, cautiously, tentatively. I met a wonderful woman named Isolde who was kind, compassionate, and honest. We connected on a deep level, and I slowly began to trust again. One day I received a phone call from Bront. Her voice was weak, trembling. "Kellan," she said, "I need your help." I hesitated. Part of me wanted to hang up, to shut her out of my life forever. But another part of me, the part that still cared about her, couldn't ignore her plea. "What is it, Bront?" I asked, my voice guarded. She told me that Finn had left her, that he had drained her bank account and disappeared. She was alone, broke, and desperate. "I have nowhere else to turn," she sobbed. "Please, Kellan, can you help me?" I felt a strange mix of emotions, pity, anger, and a sense of vindication. She had made her choices, and now she was facing the consequences. But I couldn't bring myself to abandon her completely. We had a history, a shared past, and 2 children who needed their mother. I helped her find a job and a small apartment. I offered her emotional support without getting too close. I set boundaries, making it clear that we were no longer a couple, but that I would always be there for her as a friend and co-parent. Bront slowly rebuilt her life, learning from her mistakes and becoming a better person. She apologized to me countless times, expressing her remorse and regret for the pain she had caused. I eventually forgave her, not for her sake, but for my own. Holding on to anger and resentment was exhausting, and it was preventing me from moving on completely. I never forgot what Bront had done, but I learned to accept it, to see it as a part of our past. I focused on the present, on my relationship with Isolde, and on being the best father I could be. One evening, Bront came to my house for dinner. She was there to celebrate our daughter's birthday. As we sat around the table, laughing and talking, I looked at Bront and saw a different person. She was no longer the ambitious, driven executive who had chased after excitement and validation. She was a humbled, remorseful woman who had learned the hard way that true happiness comes from within, from honesty and integrity. After dinner, Bront thanked me for everything I had done for her. "I don't know what I would have done without you," she said, her eyes filled with gratitude. "I'm so sorry for everything, Kellan. I'll never forgive myself for hurting you the way I did." I smiled gently. "It's okay, Bront," I said. "We all make mistakes. The important thing is that we learn from them." As she left, I felt a sense of peace, a sense of closure. The pain of Bront's betrayal would always be a part of my story, but it no longer defined me. I had survived, I had healed, and I had found happiness again. I learned that forgiveness is not about condoning the actions of others, but about freeing yourself from the burden of anger and resentment. I learned that betrayal can be a catalyst for growth, a painful but necessary step on the path to self-discovery. And I learned that true love is not about possession or control, but about compassion, understanding, and the willingness to forgive. Isolde and I eventually got married, creating a blended family filled with love and laughter. Brant became a successful therapist, helping other couples navigate the challenges of relationships and infidelity. We all learned to coexist, to respect each other, and to prioritize the well-being of our children. Life is not always easy, and relationships are not always perfect. But with honesty, communication, and a willingness to forgive, we can overcome even the most difficult challenges and create a future filled with love, happiness, and peace.